But yeah, that was my eventful Labor Day weekend. Hopefully your Labor Day weekend was not as stressful as mine. And then we're going to get into our target for the weekend. Our target of the week is going to be Apple TV in the classroom. If you're not in a part of the Teachers Connect just yet, look in the description box below. I'll put a link to how you can sign up for that. What's up, guys? It is Wednesday, September the 5th. I've had an eventful Labor Day weekend. I'm just going to rewind, and I'm going to tell you about my day starting on Friday when I left. So, when I left on Friday, I told myself that I was not going to come here Saturday, I was not going to come here Sunday, and I was only going to come up here Monday, Labor Day, so that way I can get a couple of things done, and I was not going to stay for more than 3 hours. So, Saturday, I did absolutely nothing. My Saturdays are going to be strictly for sleeping and uploading videos. So, that's all I did on Saturday. So, Sunday, I just spent it with family. We went to church, we grilled out, and we just had a good time. So, Monday comes around, and at around 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and go down to my room. Let me get some stuff done, and then I can come back and be home by 5. Well, I start going down my neighborhood to in my older car, and I'm driving down the road with my car, and I look in my rearview mirror, and all I see is just like white smoke, like everywhere. And so I just pull off on the side of the road. Now, luckily, I was only like 3 minutes from my house. I just put off on the side of the road. Me and my dad look at the car, and we just ultimately decided I have a head gasket leak, which, if you know anything about cars, head gasket leaks are not something that you want to hear. But my uncle, coming in super clutch, had got a really good deal for me on a car, and found a 2018 car that was just amazing. So, I'm now a Ford owner. I have a 2018 Ford Focus, which is a huge upgrade from the car that I've had before. I just feel super blessed, and I feel good knowing that I have reliable transportation, knowing that I could count on, you know, some people to help me out. Because, I mean, without my dad and without my uncle, I would not know what to do right now. So, big ups to them. But yeah, that was my eventful Labor Day weekend. Hopefully your Labor Day weekend was not as stressful as mine. But without that, I'm not gonna call it a minor hiccup because it definitely was not minor. But aside from that hiccup, I had a really good Labor Day weekend. Now, yesterday, school-wise, we started talking about the equal sign, which thank you to everyone who commented in my previous video that was suggesting that I use balances to help teach that. And I actually want to show you one thing that I did have. I have these balances right here that I was going to let my kids use. And they also come with, not this one because it's janked up, but I have these packs that I was going to build over the weekend to get ready for the equal sign this week. Now, with not having a car this weekend, I obviously wasn't able to do that. But I did find this resource, and I'm so mad at myself because my team actually told me about it during our PLC, but for some reason I didn't remember it. But on the iPads, there are online balances that you can help balance equations with. So we use that instead. We talked about how to balance an equation. We talked about true and false. We talked about how we can model that and show that by using pictures, by using mental math. I taught mine, and I really want to show you because I think after I showed them this way, they really, really got it. I'm not actually going to put it up on my smart board so that way you can see it. Okay, so when we were doing these balanced equations, I was just showing them, okay, does 6 equal 6? And I didn't even say equal. I said, is 6 the same number as 6? And they were like, duh, Mr. Kelly. And I was like, okay, so how can I show that? So I showed 6 this way. I showed 6 that way. I said, are those the same number of dots? They were like, yeah. So I said, so can 6 equal 6? Of course, definitely. So we went from that to going to the equations that they're used to seeing, kind of seeing the add-ins on one side and the sum on the right side. So we went from that and we kind of showed using those same dot method to kind of pull 2 and 3 make 5. Now, did they need those pictures? No, but I did want to at least start out with that visual for them to see. So after that, we kind of went into the equations that need to be to see if they're balanced or not. So we talked about how we can draw those pictures still. So 3 and 1, we know that those 3 plus that 1 is 4. And then on that side, we know that those 2 and those 2 equal 4. So I was like, okay, so it's 4 the same as 4. Yeah, so we went from that. And then one thing that I really, really wanted to show them was that, okay, well, some of you guys don't really need those pictures. What you can do is you can make an invisible number bond. And they were like, invisible number bond? And I was like, yeah. So let me erase this. Let me show you what I did with that. So I said, okay, so let's look. And I said, well, when we're balancing these equations, we want to always do it like we read. We always want to start at the left and then go to the right. So we're going to start on the left side of the equal sign. Then we're going to go to the right side. I says, okay, so let's solve this. Let's do 4 and 2. They said, okay, and they all knew from mental math that 4 and 2 make 6. So I went, okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to connect those two numbers, and I'm going to draw 6 because we know 4 and 2 make 6. I said, do you like my invisible number bond? They said, Mr. Kelly, it's not a number bond. I said, oh, really? I said, what if I told you that this circle's invisible, this circle's invisible, and this circle's invisible? I said, what does it look like now? And they were like, oh, my gosh, it's a number bond. Da, 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 da. And they were just really, really super hyped up about the invisible number bond. And we kind of went fast with this because we've been doing this yesterday as well. But today they really, really got it. So then we took it to the next step to say, are these true or false? And we talked about what true means, talked about what false means. But I really think after I told them about the invisible number bond that they really got it and that it really stuck with them. For this week, we're going to work with our iPads for math tomorrow using those balanced equations. I have a worksheet that we're going to use the online balances for, just to give them an extra visual. What I want them to do is I want them to do this worksheet first, and then I'm going to partner up in groups of 2, and they're going to use the iPads to go on here on that balanced equation website and then see if they really got those true or false correct. So it's going to be kind of like a self-check. I'm also going to be pulling some people who need a little bit extra help that I've noticed the past 2 days. I'm still doing the 2 math tubs that I have, the making 10 and the teen numbers. That's what we did so far this week. I'll have one more thing to talk to you about before I go, and that is last week, if you remember, I talked very briefly about my Amazon wish list. It's stuff that I would love for my class to have, and I just want to shout out one person who has already bought me stuff from my classroom wish list. Like, oh my gosh, the video was up on Saturday. I got one of them yesterday, and I got the other one today. So these gifts that I got come from a teacher named Astrid. She is a 4th grade teacher in Maryland, and I just want to say thank you so much, Astrid, for these gifts that she got for our classroom. Things that she got me are going to be tremendously used and loved in our classroom. So the first thing that she got me, and this came yesterday, it were these clear dry erase pockets that I use in just about every single one of my center stations. I use them in my math stations. I use them in my reading stations. I use them in my small group area. I use them for just about everything, and you can never have enough of these. How I use them, I have one of my reading tubs right here. So one of my reading stations is Roll a Word, where we have our sight words and a pair of dice. So I keep them in. I just keep them in these drawers right here. So this drawer I think is Phonics 4 in a row. This next one is Roll a Word, and then some other ones down there that I can't remember right now. But I also use them in my math tubs, and math tubs are over by the back wall. I'm not going to show you that because it's a mess over there. But I just want to let you know, Astrid, that these will be used every day with love in my class. So I want to say thank you for that. And then I was surprised by even more gifts from her because I got another package today. And in that second package, I got some laminating pouches from Astrid and a book from a series that I've been wanting to have in my classroom for a very, very long time. It is from the series Ordinary People Change the World, and it's about Jackie Robinson. I am Jackie Robinson. Thank you so much, Astrid, for this, the laminating pouches, as well as the clear pockets. And I did do it right. I did put the school address in there so that way you don't have to type anything in. So if you're a little iffy about that, don't fret. It got here. And again, thank you, Astrid, for getting me those things. I know with you being a teacher, you know just as well as I do how much money we put into our classrooms, and for you to not only put money into your classroom, but into mine as well. I greatly appreciate it. What's up, guys? Happy Friday, or as I like to call them, Happy Fri-yay. Today was also School Spirit Day, so I'm repping the school with a school shirt. This week, we talked about, in math, the equal sign. We did our test today. I am fairly impressed with my kids because, oh my gosh, they got it and they ran with it. They did such an amazing job with the equal sign and balancing equations. For reading, we read the dot for our mentor text, and they did fairly well with that as well. For phonics this week, short E, they did good. Next week is going to be short U. For science and social studies, I feel really bad because science and social studies took a back seat this week because we started intervention this week. We started something else this week, but it escapes me. But it just kind of threw me off a little bit because I had to change my schedule just a tad. But overall, we're still doing fine. We introduced our read to self. Well, we reintroduced our read to self, and I put all kind of books in their book boxes, and we've been practicing that. Next week, what I think I'm going to do, and maybe not even next week, probably the week after once we get read to self, because right now, for phonics tubs, they're doing fantastic with that. For Lexia on iPads, doing fantastic with that. I want to make sure that next week when I add read to self to the center wheel, I'm going to show you my center wheel. So right now, this is all I have for it. I just have our phonics tubs. And look, it's like a bathtub. So I have phonics tubs and I have iPads. I'm going to add read to self on here. What I really want them to understand is that I want them to make sure that they're doing the read to self correctly. We've been doing a lot of it, and they've been hitting like 10, 12 minutes. But my fear has happened, and my fear is they're reading by pictures and not really reading by words. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on putting it in my centers, but I'm going to have them do a read to self, and then when we're done, we're going to talk about 5-finger retail again. And if they can't do a 5-finger retail, they need to go back and read the story. So I think I'm going to have like a 5-finger retail paper that they'll fill out. Who are the characters? What's the setting? Problem, solution, events. If they can't answer those 5 things, they need to go back and read it again and then try it again. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do as far as that, to make sure that they understand what reading's all about. It's reading to get information, reading to know what's happening. So I think I want to do that. Once they get a good grasp on that, I'm going to introduce my writing center. My writing center, I'm going to, again, start off very slowly and then work our way up. So for writing, I'm just going to keep it super simple. I'm just going to have pieces of paper, that look like this. So, like, it's just, and just have them make lists. What I did was, and I think this is a very good idea. Nana, not my Nana, but, well, she is my Nana, but, so I was talking to my mentor teacher from last year about how I wanted to start my, oh no. Here we go. So I was talking to my mentor teacher from last year about how I wanted to introduce my writing center. I told her, you know, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I just want to start it off very basic, and I'm just going to make them to make lists of things just to get them trained on writing, just writing. And what I told her was, you know, it'd be a good idea because there's like a Publix and a new Aldi's that has opened up right next to the school. So I was like, what if I just get a ton of sales papers from the grocery stores and they can make like grocery lists. So I could have them like pretend that they are grocery shopping and they just go through the papers, and if they see a food that they like or a food they want to try, they just write the name of it down. So let's say they're going through this and they want to, oh, well, mandarin. I like how those look, or they like oranges. Or on my grocery list, they're just going to look at the word mandarin, and they're just going to copy it down on their paper, mandarin. And they'll just flip through and kind of see. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have some for a grocery store. I'm going to have some for maybe like Best Buy, something that they could get, like just stuff that, you know, comes in newspapers, like the Sunday newspapers, like all the different ads and stuff. So I want to get grocery stores. I want to get like electronic stores, just different type of sell ads, and they just make different lists from it. I think that's kind of how I want to introduce my writing. And then once we get into sentences, once we get into writing narratives, once we get into writing opinion pieces, I can evolve it into those as well. So that's how I think I'm going to start my reading center, just so that way it's something for them to do, something for them to get them writing, and that way I can start implementing all 4 of my reading stations. But what do you think? Am I moving too fast? Should I slow it down a little bit and make sure that they're good on all the other ones? Like I said before, they're good on Lexia, on the iPads. They're good with the phonics tubs. But maybe I should wait until they're good on Read to Self and then do writing after that. Things to think about next week. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into, because I think I want to have for my videos is I want to kind of give you a little bit of everything. So I want to do a week at a glance. I want to have some type of target, and then at the end we're going to do some type of Teachers Connect and answer some questions like that. So I'm going to end my week in the life here, and then we're going to get into our target for the week. And our target of the week is going to be Apple TV in the classroom, what I use it for, and how it works out in here. So stay tuned for that. So for my targeted video for this week, I just want to kind of highlight how I use my Apple TV in my classroom. Now, a lot of teachers are pushing, whether that be they're pushing themselves or they're being pushed by their district or principal to integrate technology into their classroom. Now, for me, an Apple TV was always something that I wanted for my classroom, and luckily for me, I got it as a graduation gift from my team, as well as some of the kindergarten teachers here, and I use it literally every day in my classroom. I love it just because I'm able to take things from my iPad, from my phone, from my MacBook, from my laptop, and just put it on the screen and use things that way, so there aren't any cords attached to it, there aren't any strings. I can move freely around the room. I'm not confined to one spot in my room when I'm using that stuff, and that's what I love so much about it. So I mainly use my Apple TV for 2 main reasons. The first reason is to mirror things from my phone, my iPad, my computer, my school laptop, my school iPads, sorry, my classroom iPads. And the second thing that I use it for some of the apps that are on the Apple TV. Now, some of the Apple TV apps are for my kids, and then some of them are for me when I'm here on the weekends. Some apps that I have on there, let me look really quick. Some apps that I have on there The ones that are for me, and they're in their own little folder, I have Hulu, Netflix, HBO, and the local news network. So those are just for me. On there that are for the kids, I have Epic, which I could do a video all about Epic. And Go Noodle. If I want to pull something up super quick, I'll just put it on Go Noodle, and we can do stuff that way as well. So those are just some of the apps that I use. And Epic, really quick, and I'll just show you what they are. So Epic is just a digital library. It's an online library that has over 25,000 books. And what I love about Epic is that I have my own profile, and so do all of my kids. So all my kids have their own Epic accounts. We have not used them in my classroom just yet, but we will in the very near future. But I'll just log on to mine really quick, and this is able to go, they can use their Epic accounts on the classroom iPads, as well as on laptops when we are using laptops in the classroom. But like I said, Epic is just an online library. They can search for different type of books. They can look for different books by category. And there's also something called My Library. Now, My Library, they will have books in there that I will kind of send out to them, as well as books that they like or books that they hit a heart on that they want to put as one of their favorites. So like I said, on theirs, they have their own home screen where it just gives them some featured stuff. It gives them some books that are new on Epic, some books that recommend for them. There's also recommended books by topic. So if you're looking about sea life, there you go. For science, pets, nonfiction, top rated on the Epic site. They also have books that they can read on their own. And then they also have books that are read-to-me books. And you know they're read-to-me books because at the bottom of the picture of the title, it'll have like a green box and it'll say read to me. And what you can do is, or what they can do is, they can read it and there'll be like a green play button.
Fish. Fish make great family pets. Fish come in many colors. Some are bright. Some have stripes.
And so it'll just read it to them. One thing about this on the Apple TV though, is that on the read to me, it does not magnify the words for them. If they were on the iPads and they had a read to me book and it was reading to them, they have the option to where as it's reading the book to them, the word that they're saying gets bigger, so it kind of helps them track where they are in there. But that's one thing I love about Epic. Another thing I like about Epic is that I can assign books to my kids. So in their Epic accounts, they have something called their mailbox. And what I can do is I can make a collection of books. So like I said, last year we had a science unit on magnets. And so I just found a lot of books. Epic also has videos, so I found a couple of videos about magnets, and I put it in a magnet collection. Just this folder, if you will, of books and videos about magnets. And what I did was I would send it out to my kids, and it would go to their mailbox. And I said, okay, I sent something to your Epic mailbox. So if you're on Epic today, be sure to check that out and find some of those books and videos that I sent to you in your mailbox. So they could go to their mailbox, and any books that I sent to them in a collection would show up in their mailbox, and they're able to read them that way. So you could also assign books, and you could also see if they read those books or if they have not read the books or looked at the pictures. But that's one thing that I use on Apple TV is Epic. Another thing that I use on here is Go Noodle. If we ever need a brain break or anything like that, we go straight to Go Noodle and we do stuff that way. One thing that I do want to show you next is the mirroring on the iPads and on my MacBook, on my computer. So for the mirroring, what I do is, and I usually mirror the class iPads, and I'm going to show you why I usually mirror the class iPads. So put that in, and now you can see my classroom iPad screen. So everything that you see on here come from my classroom iPad. So what I did with this, and I did it a lot already, is that we use the Clever app. that big C that you see, to log on to Lexi and Already on our iPad. So what I do is whenever we are learning something new, and you kind of see that right there, but this is me. And what I kind of do on the iPads is I show them how to log on to different things. I show them how to use different apps on the iPads. If there's anything on the iPads that I want them to know how to use, I mirror it to the Apple TV to show them how to do it. So I showed them how to log on to Clever. I showed them how to log on to Lexia through, and somebody did not log out. Okay, yes, they did. So I show them how to kind of log on to different apps that way. What we did this week with the balances, and it should still be on here. Yep. This week we used our iPads to show balancing equations. So this is the balance that we used, and I showed them how when we do balance equations, we work on the left and then work our way to the right. So what they were able to do is they were kind of able to see, whoops, if they can make their own balanced equations. Another thing that I like to do is I do a lot of stuff with manipulatives. So we learn a lot through using manipulatives, especially during the beginning of the week. And one thing I like to do is I like to showcase student work. So when we're working with manipulatives, or if we're doing something in our reader's notebook or our science notebook or our social studies notebook, what I'll do is I'll go to the camera app right here. And what I can do is I can showcase on my kid's desk how they work the problem out, or how their science notebook looks, or how their social studies notebook looks. And I can kind of go around to different desks and show what they're working on and how they're doing stuff. So I use the camera app a lot to kind of walk around the room and show what kids are doing around the room, and they love seeing themselves on the screen. I also this week showed them our classroom library and where everything is in our classroom library. So that's another way that I use mirroring the camera app in the classroom. I also show YouTube videos. I also show different things like that, educational videos through the iPads as well. All right, so one more app that I want to show you guys that I use in my classroom is there's a whiteboard app on every iPad, and it's basically just what it is. It's just that and nothing else. It's just a whiteboard that I can write on. If I, for some reason, am on an iPad and I need to show them something super quick, I can go to that whiteboard app and I can just write it down if I need to. Another thing that I like is that I can still keep student engagement, because if I write a problem like 2 plus 3 equals 1 plus 4, obviously I'd write a little bit more neater than that, but I can just take it to a child's seat. I can have them kind of interact with that whiteboard as well, so that way it keeps kids in their seat, but they're also being able to showcase what they know on the screen. So that's another reason why, another reason that I use my iPads for. I use it for the camera, I use it for showing how to use apps, I use it for showcasing student work, I use it for the whiteboard. So I mean, I'm not really losing anything from my smartboard and my Apple TV. But that's pretty much what I use it for. I don't know if that'll help anybody, but for right now, that's all that I use it. So that's pretty much what I use my Apple TV for. It's pretty basic, to the point. I use it to showcase student work through the camera app. I'll show them how to use the iPad apps on the screen. I mirror my iPad or my class iPads or my phone, my laptop to show YouTube videos, educational stuff, obviously. Go Noodle, stuff like that. As far as the interactiveness with a smartboard, I feel like the Apple TV has that same functionality with the iPads. But I think an added plus would be that you're able to move around the room. I'm not going to have to stand in front of the smartboard 24/7. With an iPad, I'm able to move around the room if I need to. I can go to different students and get different inputs for them, and they don't have to go get up and use the iPad. They don't have to get up and use the smartboard. But I like it. If I had to choose between a smartboard and an Apple TV, I would probably choose the Apple TV, just because it gives me more functionality. I can do the same thing on an Apple TV that I can with a smart board and some more stuff. So for me, I would use it. I would think if districts choose between Apple TVs and smart boards, I would say buying Apple TVs is a whole lot cheaper than buying a smart board, especially since a lot of schools already have iPads in their classroom. So that's just my little spiel on it. That's what I use it for. I don't know if it'll help anybody, but if it did, let me know. If you have an Apple TV and use it in your classroom and you use it for other things as well, feel free to let me know. Put it in the comments below. I'm also going to put a question on Teachers Connect about Apple TVs, how I use them, and if anybody else has any different uses for them, just so that way I know that I'm getting the most out of my Apple TV as well. So put it in the comments. Do you like Apple TVs? Yes, no? Do you use them in the classroom? What do you use them for? Let me know. Okay, so next up, I'm going to answer some questions from Teachers Connect that I found interesting to me. I am loving Teachers Connect. I love to see what teachers are doing everywhere else, kind of how they see things, especially not only just grade-wise, because obviously, you know, first grade is going to be different from fifth grade, and fifth grade is going to be different from ninth grade. So I love seeing things like that. I also love to see different strategies and stuff that people are doing. I love to look at people who are having some type of trouble with something. I love seeing the comments and how people are helping out with that. So if you're not a part of this community, I would highly, highly encourage you to be a part of the community. If you're not a part of the Teachers Connect just yet, look in the description box below. I'll put a link to how you can sign up for that. But a couple of questions that I did answer that I want to kind of read to you guys. One comes from someone by the name of Saritha, and Saritha says, it's been a very long time since I mentored a new teacher as part of my assigned roles. I know that the field of education has changed so much, and we are now asked to instruct differently than when I began. I really want to be as supportive as possible for the new teachers in general at my school. Can you share some really great tips, resources, and/or advice that I can implement with this very sweet young lady that I would help blah, I totally messed it up, wait. Can you share some really great tips, resources, and/or advice that I can implement with this very sweet young lady that would help her have a smooth first year in the secondary environment? Now, I responded not as a secondary teacher, but as a first-year teacher, just because high school is just not for me. But I came at this question as a first-year teacher with the first-year teacher lens on. And I just said, you know, I'm a first-grade teacher, and my school gives every new teacher 2 mentors for their first year. I said, I currently teach first grade, and my mentors are a kindergarten teacher and the reading. So I told her that I'm a first-year teacher, and my school gives every new teacher 2 mentors for their first year. I currently teach first grade, and my mentors for this year are a kindergarten teacher and the reading interventionist at my school. I told her for me personally that I love that my mentors are always willing to help me with anything that I need. If I need to vent to them, they're there to listen. If I need advice, they give me their opinions and steer me in the right direction. They also don't make me feel like a novice. They don't make me feel like I don't have anything important to say. They don't make me feel like that I can't bring anything to the school. They're very supportive of me. They're very supportive of my ideas. They are just so encompassing of me, and I just am so glad that I have them as my mentors. But I just said they see me as on the same level with them, although they're on the highest of pedestals to me. So my advice for her is to just make your mentee feel valued and try to help wherever you can. And just be ready for lots of questions, because as a first-year teacher, you're coming in, although you go through your teacher prep program at your college, I mean, nothing prepares you for your first year. You just kind of have to jump in feet first and, you just have to jump in head first and hope for the best. So that was just my advice for her, just to make her mentee feel valued, listen to your mentee, give advice when your mentee needs it, and just kind of make her feel like she has a purpose at the school and make her feel welcome. So that was my advice to her. Saritha commented back and told me, thank you so much for your response. She'll certainly keep my advice in mind when working with her. And she agrees with me 100% because everyone wants to feel valuable. Luckily for her, she knows that she needs everyone's input to be successful in her role as well. She said, thanks again and much success to me during my first year. Thank you, girl, because I need it. And she just kind of made me feel valued, too, by saying that we definitely need people like me in the field. So thank you so much, Saritha, for that. There's also another comment on there that says, one of the most difficult aspects of teaching secondary is that there is so much grading and so many students to keep track of. If you have any tips that you can give her to make her organization and grading easier, I'm sure she'd be very appreciative. And I didn't even think of things like that because, you know, in secondary education, you don't have one class that's with you all day. You could have 3 to 4 classes a day, or you could have 7 to 8 classes a day. And so many kids go through your classroom. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine keeping data for 60, 80, 120 kids. So I'm sure that that is something that her mentee would love to know how to do. So big ups to Megan Forbes from Too Cool from Middle School for giving that advice to her. But that was just one of the questions that I answered. Another one comes from Jordana. Jordana says, hello everyone. My school is looking for a math online program to implement that will be suitable for primary grades from kindergarten to grade 5. May you share some math programs that work well in your classroom and for the students to use at home as well. We have students from all around the world, so programs from different parts of the world are welcomed. A huge thanks for your suggestions. There were a couple of people that responded to that. I told her that in my district we use iReady. We use Curriculum Associates, and Curriculum Associates has Ready and iReady. Ready is kind of like what you use at school, and then iReady is the online component to that. So I told her that I really enjoy iReady and Ready because it can be used at school and at home. The program helps teach skills, practice skills, and assess skills that are either deficits of the child or certain skills that you assign to them. So what I really like about Ready and iReady is that, especially the iReady component, is iReady looks for deficits in kids' math skills. So let's say I taught in my class has a deficit in number sense. So what that'll do is that'll curate lessons for them to teach that skill, to practice that skill, and assess that skill to build them up in that certain domain. What you could also do this year that is new is assign certain skills to your kids on the iReady site. So for iReady, what I usually do is I'll assign two lessons that we are doing in class. So last week, I didn't do it this week, but last week with team numbers, I assigned 2 lessons for team numbers for them to do in their iReady lessons. And the lessons only take maybe like, I've had some kids take 10 minutes. I've had some kids take 20 minutes on a lesson. Just kind of depends on how they are. But, I mean, it works for me in my class, especially because we use iReady so much. We are required to use 60 minutes of iReady a week. That can be used up at school. That can be used up at home. Now, a lot of my kids won't get on iReady at home. But we kind of supplement that in the first grade team with our laptop days. So one of our math days is strictly iReady and getting those times in, filling up those deficits, or practicing the skills that we use in our classroom. So that's what I use that for, to help teach, practice, and assess either deficit skills in math or math skills that we're currently learning in the classroom. Or if I want to kind of review a skill, I can assign lessons to that to review a skill that we've probably already done, but I want them to practice a little bit more on. So I told her about that. I gave her a link to the website so that way she could give it to her principal or her assistant principal or whoever it is that is needing that information. I also told her about the website Prodigy. We use Prodigy in my class a lot as well. We haven't used it yet this year. We'll probably use it more so after Christmas. But with Prodigy, it's a little bit different from Ready and iReady because iReady teaches the skill, it practices the skill, and assesses the skill. Prodigy just is assessing the skill. But it's free and it's curriculum based for grades 1 through 8. And I said, unlike Ready and iReady, Prodigy does not teach certain skills. It only assesses the skill, so make sure that the skill has been previously taught. And I also gave her a link to Prodigy. I told her that my kids really love both programs, and I hope that they help in some type of way. So just give her my opinion. Jordana commented back and said that she'll look at both. She thanked me again. Someone commented saying that they use Go Math. Someone said, Tracy from Australia says that she uses Mathletics and Matific. Mathletics is worldwide, and students can compete in live play against anyone in the world who happens to be online. That's cool. They also have the ability to print out activity booklets, which she thinks are excellent. Matific is new to us, so she doesn't know a ton about it, so they haven't used it that much. But Tracy gave links to those as well. I'm actually going to look at that as well, just kind of see what all that's about, and see if I could kind of use it in my classroom as well, because I think that'd be something pretty cool that we could use. Latoya also commented, and Latoya said that in her district they use iExcel. It gives corrective feedback as the students complete problems. You can assign specific skills when you can see when students log in and for how long. So those are some of the online math programs that were suggested to Jordana. Hopefully that helped her out. One more that I commented on today actually was from Ashley. And Ashley says that she wants to start implementing text. One more question that I answered, and I actually answered it not too long ago. It came from Ashley, and Ashley is a 7th grade social studies teacher. And she says, I want to start implementing test corrections for students. I'm not sure what I do. As of now, I just have them answer the question they got on the test wrong on a separate piece of paper. This is for a 7th grade social studies class. Any suggestions would be appreciated. I cannot talk today. Oh my gosh. I commented on her post and said, for me, I would just set a time during your class period. I know that some schools have free periods, so I said if you have a free period in your school, you can use that. Or you can send it home as homework for a day. But I said what your students can do is they can use their textbook, if you have one, and kind of cite text evidence to correct their answers. And I gave her an example. I know that the answer to question number 6 is C, because on page 74, the text says blah, 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 and they write what the book says about that. I said it might be a pain in the very beginning, just because you kind of have to teach your kids how to cite a book and use correct citations. You'll probably have to teach them how to use text features in a book to even find the answer to your questions. And just different things like that. How you want them to word it as far as when they correct it, using sentence stems and stuff like that. So it might be a pain for that, but I think it'll also build better understanding of social studies, as well as build up reading and writing skills for them. Also said she could even give partial credit for test corrections if she wanted to. But that was my response to that, Ashley. She just posted that today, so I'm the only one that gave her a response to that as of yet. So if you're on Teachers Connect and you have a suggestion for Ashley, go ahead and go on there and answer that for her. Also, if you have any answers for Jordana's question or for Saritha's question, be sure to go on Teachers Connect and add those in. I'm sure they would love to have those responses. But that's what I kind of put on Teachers Connect this week, some of the answers that I put on there. I also put a question about Apple TV on there. I also put a post about my past vlogs and my future vlogs on there as well. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog here. If you guys have any suggestions or responses to any of the Teacher Connect questions that you heard on here, be sure to log on to Teachers Connect and answer it for them. I'm sure they'd love to hear your feedback. Also, if you want to leave them in the description box below, go ahead and do that as well. If you have any questions or comments about Apple TVs in the classroom, if you have any questions or comments about what I'm doing in my classroom, be sure to leave those in the description box below. Thank you guys for sticking with me to the end. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. And again, thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me to the end. I will see you in the next vlog. Peace.